end up taking it? Will Biffle continue his lead? Will FIFA overtake him? A lot of questions will be answered after this map. Lucky, Space, take it away.
Well,
right into it.
I mean, Lucky, we've had 3 different winners. We've had FIFA Kill, Biffle, and Gorgo Knight rounding out the last game to take home a first-place victory. Who are we going to get this time?
You know what? I'm loving seeing different teams close it out, man. But I'm sure that as the games go on, like we mentioned earlier, the tempo is going to start changing. A lot of teams are going to start playing that end game a little bit more careful. So we could see, I wouldn't even mind seeing everyone change. You know, each game's a new winner. You know what I mean?
Listen, the amount of different teams we've seen get close to the first place finish, but like fall to Hisoka or Biffle. With the way this tournament's gone, I would love to have just a different winner every single time. But one of the things early on that we have talked about a little bit, but let's hit it one more time, right? Like investing early in the hot drops because of the money that's available, the cash flow that's available. Are we going to start seeing some of these veteran squads when they know they need to get more eliminations on the board in the early game? Will they be dropping to play for the cash only, then investing in the UAV and for their kits? Like so far, it seems that that is the call, at least for this trio to start. My Oppo and company, Skullface, was already racking up a bit of cash and already a UAV comes out.
Yeah, we're definitely probably going to see a lot more of these teams play a little bit faster. I think going into game 6, possibly 7. But yeah, I think a lot of teams just want to get up on the board right here.
Yeah.
We're seeing flanked. They're going to look up. They can get their loadout here as well. With this growing in. And also, the loadouts we've been seeing a lot. You know, we've seen a lot of the cast off, MP5 and ISO. I think at one point we even saw Sage there with an MP7. So interesting to see how all the loadouts are changing. Spexy with the cast off in hand and the MP5. 50-round mag on the MP5. Love to see that.
Well, currently, I think Intex on this squad, or one of the players, excuse me, on this squad is currently missing in action. So we'll make sure we get everything all squared up and away. Give you an update if we need it. But for the moment, back over to Joewo and company. And we saw this, I want to say it was 2 games ago when they were sitting in the water. They made that late rotation into zone. Of course, they dropped to Biffle, who were sitting in the gas station. But this is not unfamiliar territory for this trio. Does it pay off this time? Big questions to be asked, but so far this team's proven they can do it.
And I feel like every time we're on board with Joe, he's in the water. He's just like a shark here. He's even switched over to FTX Siege. He's more comfortable in the water. He's got one player jumping in, and it's going to be a quick kill for Joe. Unless you have a water pistol, you really can't even shoot back. I'm loving the plays coming out from Joe. Maybe he's starting to take note of that they're continuously fighting the squad right outside the water. He'll play in the water, play a little bit more reserved. If teammates die, he's up there to be that anchor to get them back up. Good plays coming from Joe.
So it was Attract who was missing from Smixy's trio, and I think they disconnected right as, of course, the plane dropped out. So we will move on with the duo. And already getting a bit of punishment in the water. But on the outskirts, it's Breadman, who's been in a similar spot before whenever this trio starts to post up. Weirdly, we have to say post up in the water, but that's what they like to do. Breadman usually on the outskirts. Whether it's a sniper or an AR, he will make it work. Enough tags for information, not enough to clean up or crack, but does his job pretty much to perfection.
He's got those nades going in. He's going to break armor, but Joe, you realize he's like, all right, I'm not going to push this. I'm going to slow it down. Joe's working the recovery. Limax not looking as healthy, and they have a top university team trying to get some shots down on Limax. Red's trying to beat that support role, but a little bit more difficult compared to using, you know, his signal sniper, the MCPR, being that sniper on the squad. Might see a change though with the loadout in front of him. Might switch it up. Maybe a little Cronin off the first zone, switch to the pistol or sniper afterwards.
Got a UAV in. And I think that's about all the information available for the moment that Breadman really has to work with. Of course, FIFA has a bounty on his head, but whether or not you want to start investing in that is an entirely different situation that maybe it's just out of reach for now. Both teammates back up. You hear the chopper available above, so be careful, at least getting spotted alone. Yep, here comes the third party. Now you have to move.
Broken, good shots coming in from Bread. Be able to get one knock, one for the full kill as well. To give his teammates a little bit of an opportunity to hopefully get their loadout, which doesn't look like it's in the best position. And that's where teams, right, that are a little bit more situated, a little bit more set up, if you can identify where the free loadout drops are dropping and kind of play around them, you know, as much as we hate to go against them in public matches, that's kind of the strat here is these custom games. It's like you can find easy picks coming out the air.
Might want to use the loadout drop to like distract players, get them in position, then pick them up as a third party, but that's really only if the loadout drop is on dry land in a nice spot. This is not the best position to be in, but luckily for them, they do have some cover from the rooftop, so they can get in, get kitted up, get out. Back over Natarsha's POV. This is a trio that is deadly at close range. You don't want to run into the full 3 of them. If you do, you're going to have to deal with Zepti and Natarsha with the Lockman. 2 of the best in the lobby as she will dip out of dodge. And for the moment, Zepti working off of 1 plate and $1,000 in his pocket. Will try to stay alive, but more numbers continue to move in. And with that, decisions to be made. Do we continue to invest inside? I think that will be the answer.
Nat here going to go ahead and replenish some of her plates as well. She needs to play that one more time, but like you mentioned, Space, I mean, good note on that. You know, a lot of these players are playing a little bit closer, playing corners, and just we saw a perfect usage of that stacking coming in from Nat's squad. Nat's able to get some shots down. Zepti cleans it up. And on the opposite side of the map, so maybe even shifting it up a little bit, switch it up a little bit, you know, having him play a little bit separate, help him out. Maybe they notice, like, hey, we need a little bit more kills. Maybe you go rogue for a little bit. We'll hold down the anchor spot for you. Maybe a 2-1 split instead of 1-2.
I think that's the call, right? Like, you get a 2-1 split, you keep your island player to anchor with you, that of course is Zepti. You allow Inno just to roam. And oftentimes when you're roaming, it's just about either getting the pick and getting out, or getting the pick and getting info while you're going down. That's exactly what Inno just did. Found one, Aydan cleans him up, so you get a 1-for-1 trade. That's essentially a perfect engagement. Inno comes back because you're stacking together as a team. This is all just for the info play, let alone the fact that you get a pick on the Aydan squad doesn't really matter. They have information of what trios are around, how they want to maneuver the situation, and back over to a different POV. It's Iceman Isaac, who of course dropped quickly, but that was a nice play by Natarsha and company. They do a nice job just getting info around the zone.
Now on board with Knight here, Gary and Scumming can have some shots, and there's an example of what we just were talking about, man. They notice there's 3 loadouts underneath them. They're going to slow down on this area, go ahead and get those free picks coming out from the air. Scumming going to get some shots down, and Knight's quick to kind of help him out here. Ask him, where's he at? Where's the comms at? I can help you here to help out. Gary's playing a little bit separate. Note, they're all going to bunch up now. Great way to stack. They'll probably stack their way into the next zone using these sewers as a route out of here.
They might cut us off now. Yo, I'm gonna drop this mortar.
Another lane available to Gorgo.
Like on the roof. You guys
made it work at the end of game number 3. They found the Victor du Royale. 21 eliminations to their name. They took down FIFA Kills team en route to that victory. You got a mortar strike up top, won't do anything. But Gorgo going to slow it down to try to anchor the back line. Has shots, or either an extra tag, I think, from the mortar strike, but he's got to be careful here.
Not going up against an easy team, too. It's going to be Cream's Wars squad. They're going up against the first knock's going to come in from Scumman's squad. Gary's going to fall not too long after that. And now they're fighting Thomas. So in between 2 teams, edge of zone with Scumman down for the count. Gary not looking healthy. This might be the end of the squad if they can't get out of the situation. Ooh. Gonna go for the res.
And they got Tommy and Allman down. So Noobs is the only one around.
I think someone's still behind us, bro.
It's a great place.
Fire sale. I'm going to the buy. Hold on.
So what's going through their heads at the moment? I know it's tough, but like from your POV, who's had experience in this kind of level, right? You're taking a gunfight that's at least on different footing, not going to favor you. They're able to escape through. They get 2 eliminations, working on the 3rd. Like, is it just about trying to get in, cleanly finish the gunfight, rotate back out, get on your way, or do you try to slow down your gameplay once you pick up that elimination and change up how you're approaching the zone?
That's, you know, great points there. I think once you're end game, right? Second going to 3rd zone, but when you're end zone like that, and you have a squad to your left, a squad to your right, there's no bad call. But there is a call that you need to make, and just commit to one thing. Or are we going to take the left, or are we going to take the right? All right, we're going left full send it, because the more you sit out there, right, you might have a squad that I know lands around here. I think that's going to be Diaz's squad that's like, oh, listen, I hear shots going down edge zone. Let's go into gatekeep them, eliminate them. You don't want to be stuck out coming in for the 3rd party. So make a call, left to right, or rotate out, but just full commit to it. It's all about, it's not really what the call is. It's more about the speed at which you play it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a brilliant point. Just make the call. There is no wrong decision. As long as you commit as a team, you either make it work or you don't. It's literally 50-50, and you just gotta go. You gotta send it. We tell a lot of teams that throughout Warzone, through competitive. Just make the call and execute together. There's a chance, but 1 falls, that's unrational. 2 fall, make it everybody except Gorgo. And he should be able to get the help off here. He will. But somebody is slowly making their way around the edge of the zone. Just to be a nuisance is all you need.
Good recovery coming from Knight's spot as well. They only have 1 self-res to work with, and unfortunately it was on Knight, the player who didn't need it, but he's going to be the entry man as Scumman and Garrett try to get their place back up. That's going to be Tommy again, so they're continuously clashing with this one squad. I mean, it seems like Tommy's squad is having a bit of a trouble catching their footing right now.
That's got to be tough when you're running into the same team that keeps gunning you down. I mean, at least 2 or 3 of these eliminations for the 10 overall for Gorgo Knight have been from Tommy and his trio.
You guys are in front of us. What do you...
So, I mean, you can hear them for the past 2-3 minutes. They've been talking about a team that's behind them, a team that's in front of them, but they're having to draw their attention away from where they want to be to deal with extra teams flying to their side, to deal with these rotational players who've been transitioning through the middle of the map. And they're going to rotate through the water. It's a dangerous play, but like you said, you got to do it as a team.
I do it as a squad here. They have a boat right behind them as well. They could actually get on board and try to ride that. Hopefully, Scum just get ran over by it, though. Looks like they could even play in the water. There's not many buildings to take cover. If they want to go play at the bottom university, they could, but you just got to imagine, right, with 14 teams still remaining, 40 plus players, most of the spots that you're on are going to be contested, so you don't want to be too picky. You kind of just want to find any spot that first one you come up to and just anchor down.
At least they got info on one. Yeah, he says, do not follow me. There are more here that you can deal with. So the push back and the hold from Knight, you're going to get the revive off. Nice job with the flare. The smoke, the cross. Beautiful, easy plays.
They're right behind me.
And yeah, I like this call. The communication to slow the play down.
It's actually a really good hold here. Bottom university. There's really only 2 entrances, and for the most part, you got to rotate out in the open, which you might have a couple of teams struggling to do so. Entering these different POIs that you got to get into are going to be weak. Scumman's going to get ran through. One player in front of him. Overall, there's a bit playing on Knight a little bit more, so not be able to get a trade. That's basically, if you're in this situation, are you trying to work the res, or you maybe just like, yo, let's play placement a little longer, and if the res opportunity comes up later, we'll go for it.
I would say it probably depends on the numbers you have up. If you only have 2, I think you're playing the gunfights first, then the height game second. In this spot, and again, that subsequently would lead to a natural res, which is great. But in this spot, yeah, like you have to be worried more about just positioning and gunfights in front. Anybody's trying to push in and take you out of your spot. I think the zone rotation, placement, that is secondary. The primary options right now are getting your teammate back, and anybody who challenges you from this position, obviously try to take them down, but hold on to your line of sight. If you lose this, I mean, you're in dire straits with the zone all the way around you, and no information really on the exit strategies of what teammates or really what opposing players might be around to pick you up at range. So in this spot, you're just trying to hold on to your life, get your teammate back, and clean up anybody who moves in.
One team underneath Gary and Knight, they're trying to take some shots down. A little bit of a difficult push to do, and like Knight mentioned, there's no real plates in reserve other than the 3 he has in his pocket. After that, they're realizing Knight's like, all right, listen, let's not take any more peeks. We're in zone. Maybe play the placement, get some more, you know, points on the board. You know, they jumped. They had a really good game 3, but they only, I think, are sitting in barely the top 10. But maybe their first 2 games were a bit of a struggle, and they realized that. They're like, all right, listen, we can't have a repeat of game 1 and 2. Might be a little bit difficult for us to close out this match and just get our consistent points on the board, and then come out strong again going into game 5.
I get that.
Okay. Well, in a change of events, a trio that we have been waiting to see make an endgame push for multiple weeks now, Z-Color, Super Evan, and Swagg, find themselves in the best situation possible, the best placement possible so far, as they try to make their move into the endgame.
Is that an opening?
And they're thinking twice about that opening, but I like the decision. All right, so we got some interesting endgame situations available. Natasha, again, stacking with her trio. The time and time again, this is the playstyle they're going for. They favor University as well. And it's a long rotation to the last zone.
Yeah, and looking at that last zone, barely in is only going to be the... Looks like majority, half of the zone's actually going to be the water. So Chris has to be careful here. If any of them have that pistol, it's going to be good, but it looks like they're going to shot out from the air. It's going to be Wiz on top of University. Evan doesn't have any gas mask to work with. Chris has a gold one. He'll be able to get him up. He has a medic vest as well, so he'll be able to get Evan up rather quickly. But again, this is a 6 zone I'm talking about, right? It's a lot slower than all the other zones, so if you rotate too early, you might catch yourself dying in a zone just like we saw Evan. He's one player on him. Shots are coming in through the smoke, trying to line him up with the MP5. That's going to be a knock from Chris. And another squad, it's going to be Natasha's team that actually cleans them up.
Oh, but she goes down too. So you give some, you get some. You try to take that risky challenge. It pays off, but it's a double-edged sword here. You're going to get caught in no man's land, and this is where players like FIFA Kill absolutely thrive. Cronin in his hands. Excuse me. ISO in his hands as he moves into position, but he actually gets caught trying to rotate out, and his team will drop. So, all right, 4th place there for FIFA Kill and Company. Couple of big, heavy hitting squads do drop early. AB Wiz will fall. Knight finds one into the back. For the moment, Unrational able to clean up. I think that was Swagg. And here we go. 21 elims to their name. Bit of chaos, but it's still Biffle and his trio that find their way through the chaos, through the smoke, and still stay alive.
Yeah, it might be the last trio on the squad hopping on board with Biffle here, hoping to close out their second game of the tournament. The last trio alive in a 3v2, 1v1. I don't know how many kills they have. Diaz with 9, hoping to break the double digits here. Gonna peek on the right-hand side with the Cronin, trying to line up these last couple kills. Seeing everything. Good comms coming in from Shifty. The ping's gonna come out there. He is playing a little bit more reserve, going on the far right-hand side, trying to work different angles here. Shifty and Sage being the entry man. Diaz working the angles. Has a player knocked, no armor. Last player live, and it's gonna be 17. Coming in from Diaz's squad and the dubs, the first team to win 2 games on this tournament. That's gonna be huge.
It was a 3v1v1 in the final zone. Biffle versus 2 stragglers. 1 falls, they collapse on the second, they close it out. 17 eliminations, make it 2 in a row today. Games 2 and 4. The even games have been favoring the Drakes so far. 2 wins, 2 victories for this squad, putting more points on the board, but reflections. A bit of chaos in the final zone. Some of our top teams finally seeing the likes of Super Evan and Swagg make it to the end game, but the collapse came in. FIFA goes down, Swagg goes down, Gorgonite goes down, and in the end, it was Biffle and company who still found a way to succumb to the chaos, but survive it, and they find themselves